Hi everyone. If you've ever been nervous about speaking English in a job interview, trust me, you're not alone. I've been there too. During my first few interviews, I made several mistakes, some big, some small. But the key is learning from those mistakes. In today's video, I'll share the challenges I faced during my job interview and what I should have done to handle them better. Let's dive in. One of the first mistakes I made during an interview was mixing up tenses and sentence structures. I was asked about my past job experience, and I said something like, "I am working on marketing campaigns," when I should have said, "I worked on marketing campaigns." The tense was wrong, and I could tell the interviewer was a bit confused. For a second, I froze and thought, did I really say that? It felt a bit awkward, but I didn't want to make it worse. So, I quickly fixed it by saying, "I apologize for the confusion, but what I intended to say was that I worked on marketing campaigns." I was a little embarrassed, but I didn't let that stop me. In my mind, I worried, what if they think I don't know my tenses? But I let it go and kept going. The interviewer didn't even seem to care. They just nodded and smiled, and we continued talking as if nothing happened. That experience taught me something important. Mistakes happen, even in interviews. If you make a mistake, just fix it and keep going. Stay calm and confident. People know that everyone makes mistakes. Let's take a look at some practical phrases that can help you smoothly handle any errors during your interview, while keeping the conversation professional and confident. If you make a mistake, you could say, "Allow me to correct myself." This shows you're taking the correction seriously and are committed to being clear. For example, you could say, "Allow me to correct myself. What I meant to say is that I worked on marketing campaigns." Next, you could use, "just to clarify," when you want to make your point clearer. This is a simple and effective way to adjust your statement. For example, "Just to clarify, I was involved in marketing campaigns during my last job." Then, you might say, "Let me rephrase that for you." This indicates that you're rewording your previous statement to ensure better understanding. For instance, "Let me rephrase that for you. What I meant is I have experience working on marketing campaigns." If you've already made a slip, you can use, "I misspoke earlier. What I should have said was." This is polite and acknowledges your mistake without making a big deal out of it. For example, "I misspoke earlier. What I should have said was I worked on several marketing campaigns in my last role." Another way to correct yourself could be, "What I should have said is." This is direct and shows you're taking responsibility for your mistake, and it allows you to correct it clearly. For instance, you might say, "What I should have said is that I was part of a team that handled marketing campaigns." Lastly, "to be more specific," is a great way to provide additional details or make your statement more accurate. For example, "To be more specific, I led the marketing campaign for our flagship product." By using the right phrases and staying calm, you show that you're not only qualified but also adaptable and composed under pressure. So, the next time you slip up in an interview, just correct yourself with confidence, and keep moving forward. Now, let me tell you about this one time when I was having a conversation and just completely blanked on a word I needed. It was during an interview, and I was trying to explain my role in a previous project. You know when you're talking and you know exactly what you want to say, but the words just aren't coming. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I was trying to explain how I worked with a team on a bunch of different initiatives, but I couldn't for the life of me remember the word collaborate. Instead of panicking, I just went with what I could think of in the moment. I said, I worked together with people. It wasn't perfect, but it got the point across. But, as you can imagine, I felt like the sentence wasn't strong enough. I knew it could have been better. So, I quickly realized I needed to get my momentum back. I didn't want to lose the interviewer's attention or sound unsure of myself. So, I took a quick breath and said, I was part of a team where we worked on various projects together. I rephrased it because it was a little clearer and more professional. But honestly, the key was to just keep the conversation going. I didn't make a big deal about the slip up. I didn't stop to apologize or let it slow me down. I just kept moving forward, and the interview continued as normal. Now, if you've ever had a moment like this where you forget a word in the middle of a conversation, don't stress. I've got to tell you, we've actually already made a video about handling situations like this on day 5 of our 30-day English speaking challenge. So, if you're not sure how to smoothly keep going when you forget a word, or how to rephrase on the fly, make sure to check out that video. It's packed with tips and strategies for exactly this kind of situation, and trust me, it'll help you handle it like a pro next time. Okay, moving on to the next story. So, during one particular interview, I encountered a situation that made me realize how important pronunciation is, especially when you're nervous. As I was speaking, I mispronounced a couple of words, project, and strategy. Now, these are words I use all the time, so it wasn't that I didn't know how to say them. But, with the pressure of the interview, I was so focused on getting everything right that I ended up stumbling over them. I noticed the interviewer's expression change slightly, and I could tell they were a bit confused. It's moments like these where you have two choices. Either you let the situation get awkward, or you handle it with confidence. For me, I knew I couldn't let it slide without addressing it. I paused for a brief moment, took a deep breath, and calmly said, I apologize for the mispronunciation. I meant project and strategy. Sometimes, I tend to get a little nervous in interviews. I said this in a way that was clear and professional, not overly apologetic but just enough to acknowledge the mistake. The interviewer smiled, understanding the situation, and we moved on. It wasn't a big deal, and honestly, addressing it head-on made everything feel less awkward. By calmly acknowledging the mistake, I showed the interviewer that I was composed and able to recover quickly, which is a key trait in any professional setting. I realized that addressing pronunciation mistakes in a calm, collected manner is crucial in interviews. It's important not to dwell on them, but also to show that you can take responsibility for small errors. If you handle such moments with professionalism, it not only keeps the conversation flowing but also helps you maintain your confidence throughout the interview. Sometimes in interviews, the interviewer may ask questions that are hard to understand, or they might use terms that you're not familiar with. It's okay if you don't get it right away. I remember once during an interview, the interviewer asked me, how would you improve client retention in a rapidly scaling startup? I understood most of the question, but I wasn't sure about the term, rapidly scaling startup. Instead of guessing or saying something that didn't make sense, I decided to ask for clarification. I said, could you please explain what you mean by rapidly scaling startup? Are you talking about how to keep clients happy when a company is growing quickly? The interviewer was happy to explain. They meant how businesses deal with keeping clients satisfied when they are expanding fast. Once I understood, I was able to give a much better answer about how to keep clients engaged during a company's growth, like having a good customer service team or using tools to track client relationships. From that experience, I learned that it's perfectly fine to ask for clarification. It shows you're paying attention and want to give the best answer possible. You can say things like, "Can you explain what you mean by?" Or, "Just to make sure I understand, are you asking about?" Asking for clarification helps you stay on track and gives you a chance to give a clearer, more accurate response. So, if you don't understand something, don't hesitate to ask. It's a good way to give a better answer. Lastly, before you wrap up the interview, don't forget to thank the interviewer for their time. It may seem like a small thing, but trust me, it can make a big difference in leaving a positive impression. A sincere thank you not only shows your appreciation but also leaves the interviewer with a great final impression of you. In the midst of answering tough questions or talking about your qualifications, this simple gesture can truly stand out and leave the conversation on a good note. Now, I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't I just say, "Thanks for the interview"? Sure, that's fine, but here's where you can add a little more professionalism and sincerity. You can say things like, "Thank you for your time today," or, "I really appreciate the opportunity to interview for this position." This shows you're not just thanking them because you have to, but because you genuinely appreciate the chance to speak with them. But here's the thing, thanking them doesn't have to wait until the end. If they clarify something or help you understand a question better, thank them for it. For example, you could say, "Thanks for the clarification, sir or ma'am. That makes it clearer. So, regarding your question." Or, if they explain something important about the company or position, "I appreciate the insight, it really gives me a clearer picture of what the job entails." And don't forget, when they ask you a great question or provide valuable feedback, thanking them in the moment is a nice touch too. "That's a great question, thank you for bringing it up." A quick thank you here and there shows that you're paying attention and respect the conversation. But don't go overboard. You don't want to keep saying thank you all the time. A few thank yous will do, but if you overdo it, it might make you seem a bit too eager. Also, don't apologize too much. If you make a mistake, a quick, "Sorry about that," is fine, but don't keep apologizing. Over-apologizing can make you look unsure of yourself. Keep it natural, thank them when needed, but don't overdo it. Stay confident and professional. To sum up, handling mistakes in interviews, or in any conversation, is all about confidence and clarity in English. Whether it's correcting yourself or asking for clarification, using the right phrases and staying composed will make a huge difference. With practice, these moments will feel more natural, and your speaking skills will improve. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and remember that each step you take brings you closer to mastering English. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out our other videos for more tips and tricks. Keep speaking, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.